People like to tell you that if you do the right thing, things will work out, that the world has some built-in balance, some quiet justice that kicks in when you step up instead of walking away. I used to believe that too. And then one cold afternoon by a lake taught me just how fragile that belief really is. It was one of those days where the air looks calm, but cuts straight through you the moment you stop moving. Early spring, pretending it's already warm, but the cold hasn't let go yet. I went to that lake because I needed quiet. No sirens, no radios, no people asking for help, just water trees and space to breathe. Funny how life laughs at plans like that. I was halfway down the trail when I heard a scream that didn't sound like play. Didn't sound like kids messing around. It sounded like panic, raw and sharp, the kind that hits your spine before your brain catches up. Someone yelling for help. Someone yelling because they were about to lose someone. I ran, didn't think about it, didn't weigh options. I rounded the bend and saw two boys maybe 11 years old. One was frozen at the shoreline, screaming and pointing. The other was out in the water thrashing, going under, popping back up just long enough to suck in air before disappearing again. The water was deep there, and I could tell immediately. Cold shock had him. That water was around 50 degrees cold enough to lock your lungs, scramble your brain. People drown fast in water like that, faster than anyone wants to admit. I kicked off my boots while I was still running, dropped my jacket and went straight in. The cold hit like a punch to the chest. My breath seized, my muscles screamed, and for a split second my body wanted to quit. But training kicks in. Muscle memory. You focus on the next move, not the pain. I swam hard, arms already stiff, legs feeling heavier by the second. I reached the kid just as he slipped under again, grabbed him, pulled him up, and felt that awful limp weight in my arms. That weight tells you everything. I turned back toward shore, every stroke slower than the last, hands barely cooperating, but I didn't stop. I dragged him onto the grass and checked for breathing. Nothing. No rise in his chest, weak pulse barely there. I dropped to my knees and started CPR without even thinking about it. Counting out loud, not for anyone else, just to stay focused. 30 compressions, 2 breaths, again. Wind cutting through my soaked clothes, hands shaking so bad I could barely keep rhythm. Somewhere behind me, the other kid was crying, saying please over and over like it might change the outcome. And then it did. The boy coughed, water came up, his body jerked, and he pulled in a breath so sharp it sounded painful. Then another. His eyes fluttered open, confused, alive. I rolled him on his side, kept talking, kept him with me. You're okay, you're breathing, stay still. The other kid collapsed onto the ground, crying hard now, relief pouring out of him. He kept saying, thank you, you saved him. I barely registered it. The cold was catching up fast. My teeth were chattering so hard my jaw hurt, my hands numb, my legs unsteady. Hypothermia doesn't care that you did something good, it just takes what it takes. I stood up and started toward the parking lot. I needed my car heat now, and that's when I heard it. Sir, stop right there. I turned and saw a police officer stepping onto the trail, hand resting near his belt. Not concern on his face, not relief. Suspicion. You know the look. The one that says you're already being sized up as a problem. I said the first thing that mattered. I need to get to my car, I'm freezing. I just pulled a kid out of the lake. He didn't move. That's what we need to talk about, he said. What were you doing in the water with that child? I remember staring at him honestly, trying to understand the question. What was I doing saving him? He was drowning. Another officer showed up. Younger took a position off to the side. Tactical. Alert. The first officer scanned the scene like he was checking boxes. Adult male, alone, kids, empty park. The circumstances seemed suspicious, he said, calm and clinical, like reading a report that hadn't been written yet. People around us started speaking up. Someone called 911. A woman put her coat around the boy I'd pulled out. A man said he saw the whole thing, said the kid was drowning, and I jumped right in. The other boy kept repeating it louder now, desperate. He saved my friend. He saved him. But the officer didn't seem to hear any of that. Or maybe he heard it and decided it didn't matter. I tried to step around him. I really need to warm up. Sir, he said, stepping directly into my path. We need identification, and we need you to explain why you were in the water with a minor. That was the moment something shifted. This wasn't confusion anymore. This wasn't concern. This was accusation. Are you saying I did something wrong? I saved his life? We're investigating, he said. An adult male alone with children in a deserted area raises concerns. The crowd's tone changed, sharper, angrier. People started asking what the hell he was doing, saying I was a hero, that an ambulance was on the way. But the decision had already been made. I could see it in his posture, the way his jaw set. Sir, turn around. Hands behind your back. For a second, I thought I'd misheard. Detained. For what? Child endangerment. Suspicious contact with a minor. Possible assault. Assault. That word hit harder than the cuffs. Cold metal closed around my wrists while my body was still shaking from the lake. The kid I saved started crying again, screaming that I didn't do anything wrong. Phones came out, people shouted. And the officer read me my rights like this was just another stop on his shift. At the station, they gave me a blanket. Not kindness, procedure. I sat cuffed to a table, still damp, still cold, staring at the wall. I thought about all the times I'd run toward danger instead of away from it. About pulling people out of fires, about things I'd done overseas that never left my head. None of that prepared me for being arrested for doing exactly what I'd always been trained to do. Save a life. A detective came in, older, tired eyes, asked me to walk through what happened. I told her everything. The screams, the water, the CPR. And then I said the part that mattered. That officer didn't see a rescuer. He saw a black man. And once he decided that nothing else mattered. She didn't argue. She took notes and left. Time passed thick and quiet. When she came back, things felt different. The kid was stable, alive because of what I did. Witnesses confirmed it. The other boy gave a statement clear and simple. He saved my friend. And when they asked him why I was arrested, he said something that cut straight through the room. Because the man was black. Yeah, that happened. That was when everything unraveled. A supervisor pulled my record, no criminal history, but another flag popped up. Military service. He clicked through and stopped cold. Deployments, decorations, injuries, firefighter, EMT, commendations. The kind of history that makes people uncomfortable when they realize how wrong they were. Phones rang, doors closed, voices dropped. Within an hour, the cuffs came off. I was released. Apologies followed. Words like mistake and misunderstanding got tossed around. I listened jaw tight. 14 complaints, I said quietly. That officer had 14 complaints for doing exactly this, and you all let him keep going. 6 weeks later, the lawsuit hit. Not just about me, about patterns, about years of ignored warnings, about a system that didn't listen until the wrong person got arrested in public. The city settled for millions. The officer was fired, certification gone. Internal affairs got investigated, some demoted, one terminated. It looked like accountability, at least on paper. I didn't celebrate. I went back to work, back to alarms and emergencies and people who needed help. But something had shifted inside me. I'd seen how fast heroism could turn into suspicion, how thin that line really is. How many people never get the ending I did because they don't have witnesses or records or someone willing to listen. You know what I mean? So here's the part I want you to think about. Should it take lawsuits and public outrage to stop patterns everyone already knows exist? Should officers with repeated complaints be pulled long before someone innocent ends up in cuffs? And how many stories like this never make it out because the person didn't have proof or a voice or a platform? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Disagree with me, challenge me, share what you've seen. Because doing the right thing doesn't always protect you, but talking about it just might protect the next person who steps up when it matters.